Hi everybody and happy Friday. I just want to give you a quick overview of what we did in class today. So we started with our warm-up, which was just reminding students of their new table seating, which now is organized by book group and or a subgroup of a book club. Students also did just a little bit of housekeeping, getting some sheet protectors for some of our notes and getting those placed in the right part of their notebooks. Today, once we took care of that very quickly, we did a quick review of yesterday's mini lesson. So thinking about theme, central and main ideas and issues. We had a lesson on that yesterday, and I have a blog post up about that now if you'd like to learn more. I realized about midway through the day my students are struggling with themes, so I'm going to circle back to this briefly on Monday with my first two classes, but for my 5th and 6th period, I very quickly punted and provided them a list of different themes and different works, literary works, and we're doing literary, nonfiction, and memoir, so this works. And they could reference this and circle themes that they felt that they were starting to see emerge as they were reading today. So just a little bit about that. And then we began our reading workout. So we kind of reviewed and connected to yesterday, and we brought it into our work today. So my 4th period was the only time that had time to do this piece because they had a little bit of extra time due to the way our lunch period falls. And I did not want to try to do the main part of the workout prior to lunch because we didn't have time and I didn't want to split it up. But my 4th period only did this warm up or stretch. They did sort of a modified KWL and checked in with me about their plan for meeting their reading goal for the first book club meeting that's a week from today, and shared a little bit about what they were thinking about. And then they had just a couple of minutes to read, and this pretty much took up our time before lunch. They turned in that graphic organizer before they went to lunch, and then got time to read very briefly. We went and ate lunch, and when we came back, we did our first circuit. So I borrowed this from another amazing teacher on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, who is a former National Teacher of the Year. And I took her idea and kind of made it a little bit more specific in my own and did a little bit more scaffolding for my 8th graders. So we did the first part of our reading workout, which I called Circuit 1. And we talked about this was going to be our first part of our high intensity workout, reading for 15 minutes and focusing as intensely as we could and reading as much as we could, maybe trying to concentrate a little bit more than we normally might during independent reading time. When we finished our first circuit, we did what I called cardio and reps. So we did what was called a walk and talk about our book. This is another idea that I borrowed last year from this same National Teacher of the Year, and again modified and made it my own. So we really didn't have time to go outside and do this like I've done in the past. So instead, we just did a walk around the 8th grade pod, which took maybe 60 to 90 seconds. So students divided into partners, and they could pick anybody in the room. It didn't have to be from their book club. But for each discussion wrap or round, we were talking a little bit about theme, our feelings about the book, maybe how were we connecting or identifying in some way, and then passages or happenings that were standing out to us. So we had 3 kind of major talking points to help us with our discussion points or our reps. So again, tying that back to themes and issues from our mini lesson yesterday, our emotional reaction to what we were reading, and they could also talk about connections or ways that they identified with the book so far, and passages or happenings that stood out to them as important. So for the first round, one partner would talk, they walked side by side, we did a rep around the 8th grade pod, and then when we started the second rep, we switched off and the other partner talked and shared about his or her book. So we did that, and then we came back in, and I told them this was like riding your Peloton bike or an exercise bike, that we were going to do a 5 to 7 minute high intensity circuit 2. So we were going to step it up, we were going to push ourselves, push the boundaries as much as we could, so we were reading with even more focus and intensity. My first period, which had just a little bit of extra time, the way things worked out, did roughly 7 minutes. My other classes, I kept it at 5. And so we talked about, push yourself. This is like where you're working really hard, but for a short time. So we did that with our reading. And then we wrapped up with our graffiti wall or parking lot for each book. There are 15 total books going on right now. So they had Postit notes, and let me show you those. Those were earlier today on every table. They were placed on every table. I have enough baskets and Postit note supplies to do that. And so they put their name and they identified whether they were going to discuss theme or issue, and they put that word theme or issue at the top. And then they had to explain in at least 2 sentences the theme or issue that they were noticing so far in the book and how they knew that. We included the passage or an abbreviated excerpt of the passage and the page number from the book, and then students went to the appropriate sticky wall or parking lot or graffiti wall and secured their work. So you can kind of see here, we have Brown Girl Dreaming, We Are Displaced, The Distance Between Us, My Family Divided, Someone Like Me, March Forward Girl. Then we have some memoirs. We have Bad Boy by Walter D. Myers, Becoming Kareem, Chasing Space, Taking Flight, and then our Holocaust and or political persecution or ethnic persecution books. Somewhere There's Still a Sun, Parallel Journeys, Red Scarf Girl, The Boy on the Wooden Box, and then Turning 15 on the Road to Freedom, which technically doesn't fall on that, it's civil rights, but it just kind of landed over here with what wall space I had left. So Monday we're going to do a quick gallery walk, and we're going to brainstorm a list of issues and themes that we are seeing in our book so far. And then we are going to be doing our next mini lesson from the Calkins Literary Nonfiction Unit, which is organizing our notes in a way that helps track the various categories, subtopics, or points. And these are actually, or this will actually build on strategies that we've done before. And I have a blog post on that, or several blog posts on that if you want to read more, but that's what's coming up Monday. So we'll do the gallery walk real quick, brainstorm what we see emerging. We'll probably do that on the easel here, issues and themes. We'll do issues on one side, themes on the other. Go over our note-taking strategies and our book club prep sheet, getting ready for our first meeting Friday. And then they're going to have the rest of the period to work. And then they also have Wednesday and Thursday to read and work and annotate. So that's just a quick overview. And it's also a little peek at my classroom for those of you that I don't get to see very often. One other thing I've done, they have their own copies that they're keeping in their binders in a sheet protector. But these are our reading schedules so that they know, hey, this is what I have to have read in my book by each book club date. So just trying to scaffold for success. Today they worked and did their reading workout at their table groups. We got to go outside, walk around the pond. We came back in, did the high intensity, kind of hit last burst of energy, and then did our cool down, if you will, with kind of sharing our thinking about our themes and issues. So it's a little glimpse of our classroom space, which I'm very fortunate to have and to be able to set it up this way. But also a little bit of overview for our literary nonfiction and memoir book clubs, which I'm super excited about, and I think the kids are too. So anyway, thanks for joining, and stay tuned to my blog if you would like to learn more. Have a great weekend.